Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're zeroing in on something every espresso drinker notices. That iconic reddish-brown foam on top, the crema.
That's right, crema. It's that layer, sometimes fleeting, but
Mm.
visually really striking on a fresh shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it often carries a lot of weight in how we, well, perceive a good espresso.
Oh, absolutely. It's the first thing you see. And you hear people rave about a thick crema like it's the sign of quality.
Definitely. And the flip side, too, a thin crema can feel, instantly disappointing.
Exactly. But our deep dive today, using some really interesting material we've looked at, is all about getting beyond that initial look. Our mission really is to understand what truly makes a great espresso. And these sources, well, they shed light on some common and sometimes kind of surprising misconceptions about crema.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how much our eyes sort of set up our expectations for taste. Crema is a key visual, no doubt, but it's just one piece of a much bigger picture.
Okay, let's jump right in. The big one. More crema means better coffee. I know, I've definitely thought that before. Thick, rich looking, must be delicious, right?
Yeah, that's probably the most common myth.
Yeah.
But the sources we studied, they're pretty clear.
Yeah.
That's just not the case.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, while a generous crema looks good, it's primarily showing you two things: how fresh the coffee beans are
Yeah.
and that the extraction process worked correctly.
Oh, okay.
It's basically a sign of carbon dioxide gas being released under pressure, and fresher beans just have more CO2 to release.
So it's more like a byproduct, a sign of recent roasting and good technique, but not a direct measure of how good it's going to taste.
Precisely. The real measure, as our sources keep pointing out, is the taste itself. The actual flavor. Those nuances, the balance, acidity, bitterness that comes from the bean's origin, the roast profile, the brewing skill, not just the foam.
All right.
You could technically get a lot of crema from, let's say, lower quality beans if they're fresh, but it still won't taste amazing.
That makes sense. I can definitely imagine a beautiful shot that just falls flat on flavor. The sources even say an espresso with minimal crema can actually be outstanding.
Yes, if those other key factors being quality, roast, the brewing itself are all spot on.
So don't judge a shot just by its crema cover, basically.
That's a crucial takeaway. Don't let a less than perfect looking crema put you off immediately.
Okay. Which brings us neatly to myth number 2. No crema means bad coffee. Another common worry, right? Especially for home baristas maybe struggling to get that thick layer.
And again, our sources push back strongly against this idea. There are perfectly good reasons why a really delicious espresso might have less crema.
Like what?
Well, one big factor is the roast level. Lighter roasts, the kind often prized for bright, complex, fruity flavors, they just tend to produce less crema naturally.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
It's because they have lower levels of oils and also less CO2 developed during the shorter, lighter roasting process compared to dark roasts.
Okay, so if I'm enjoying a really vibrant, maybe acidic espresso, it might just naturally have less foam, and that's fine.
Exactly. It's totally fine. Judging it as poor quality just because the crema is thin means you could miss out on some fantastic coffees.
Right.
And the sources also mention bean age. Now, super fresh is ideal for max crema, sure, but slightly older beans, if they've been stored well and you grind them right before brewing, they can still make a very flavorful espresso. The crema might just be less pronounced.
Gotcha. So again, it comes back to the actual taste, the aroma, the balance, not just how it looks.
Absolutely. The sources keep reinforcing that. Great coffee is about the aroma, the balance, the depth of flavor on your
It's
palate.
not just the visuals.
Crema is transient, it fades. The taste is what stays with you.
Okay, myth number 3. Dark roasts always produce the best crema. This sort of feels like it follows from the CO2 thing we discussed.
Well, it's true that dark roasts often do generate a thicker, more abundant crema. That part is generally accurate.
Because of the roast.
Yeah, the more intense, longer roasting builds up more CO2 within the bean structure, which then gets released during brewing. Makes sense. But, and this is a really key distinction, the sources make more crema doesn't automatically equal a better taste experience.
Right, because dark roasts bring that specific flavor profile, bold, often bitter, maybe smoky or chocolatey.
Exactly. And that intensity, while some people love it, isn't what everyone wants in their espresso.
Yeah, definitely not for everyone.
Some prefer those lighter, brighter, more delicate notes you get from light or medium roasts, even if the crema is thinner. Our sources highlight that preference is just so personal.
So it boils down to trying different things, finding what you like, regardless of the foam quantity. It sounds like focusing too much on crema could actually distract you from finding your perfect espresso.
That's a great way to put it. It really could. So now that we've kind of cleared the air on these crema myths, maybe we should talk about what the sources say really defines a great cup.
Sounds good. If crema isn't the ultimate sign, what should we focus on? The first thing that really jumped out from the material was bean freshness.
Absolutely critical. Paramount, really. Like we said, fresh beans have that CO2, yes, for crema, but that gas is also vital for the flavor itself.
Ah.
When beans get old, they lose that gas degassing, it's called. And that makes the coffee taste dull, flat, less vibrant. It hits both crema and flavor.
The sources give that practical tip. Try to buy coffee roasted within the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep, that's a good benchmark. And they really stress grinding right before you brew. That's huge.
Why is that specific step so important? I mean, pre-ground is convenient.
It is, but grinding massively increases the surface area of the bean. All those amazing volatile aroma and flavor compounds, they start escaping fast. Grinding just moments before brewing keeps them locked in until the water hits them. Much richer, more aromatic, more flavorful result. Think fresh pepper versus pre-ground dust. Wow. Same idea.
Okay, freshness is number one. What's next, according to our sources?
The actual quality of the beans themselves, where they came from, how well they were grown and processed, that has a much, much bigger impact on taste than crema does.
Makes sense.
Think about single origin beans, for example. They often have these incredibly specific, unique flavor profiles tied to their region, the soil, the altitude.
Right, like wine grapes or something. The raw material matters most.
That's precisely. So a really high-quality, well-sourced bean will likely taste better, even with less crema, than a low-grade bean that happens to foam up a lot because it's, say, super freshly roasted, but just not great quality.
So view crema as maybe a bonus sign of freshness, but don't mistake it for inherent bean quality.
Exactly. It's an indicator, not the definition of quality.
And the third big thing the sources point to is proper grinding and brewing technique. This sounds like where things get technical.
It can be, but it's also manageable. Getting the grind size right for espresso is just fundamental. Too fine.
Bitter.
Bitter, yeah. Over-extracted, unpleasant, too coarse.
Weak and sour.
You got it. Under-extracted, weak, sour, watery. Finding that sweet spot is key.
And the machine's pressure matters too, right? The sources mention that.
Yes. Ideally, you want a machine that can consistently deliver about 9 bars of pressure during the extraction. That seems to be the sweet spot for pulling out the good stuff, the desirable flavor compounds, without pushing it too far.
Okay, 9 bars.
And finally, the ratio. How much coffee you use versus how much water.
Ah, the dose and yield.
Exactly. The sources often suggest aiming for a 1-to-2 ratio as a starting point. So like 18 grams of ground coffee in, aiming for about 36 grams of liquid espresso out. That tends to give a rich, full-bodied, balanced shot.
That's a really helpful starting point. Okay, so recapping. Focus on fresh, high-quality beans, nail that grind size, make sure the machine's doing its job with pressure, and watch the coffee-to-water ratio.
That's pretty much the core of it. And our sources also toss in a couple of practical tips for anyone wanting to up their home espresso game.
Oh yeah, let's hear them.
First, just experiment. Try different roasts. Light, medium, dark. See what flavors you actually prefer. Forget the crema focus for a bit.
Good advice.
And second, if you're getting serious, think about investing in decent equipment. A reliable espresso machine, yes. But crucially, a burr grinder.
Why a burr grinder specifically?
They give you a much more consistent, uniform particle size compared to blade grinders, which just kind of chop the beans unevenly. That consistency is essential for an even extraction and better flavor.
Makes sense. Solid, actionable tips there. So, boiling it all down, the main takeaway from this deep dive seems crystal clear. Crema looks nice. That tells you something about freshness and extraction.
But it is absolutely not the ultimate sign of a great espresso.
Right. Not the be-all and end-all.
Not at all. True espresso excellence comes down to those fundamentals. Quality beans, fresh beans, roasted well, and brewed with care and precision.
Fantastic. This has really helped demystify crema for me and hopefully for you listening too. So here's a thought to take away. Now that you know crema isn't everything, what specific part of coffee flavor, maybe acidity, sweetness, body, a particular origin note, are you curious to explore more deeply next time you brew or order an espresso? It's time to really taste beyond the foam.